Obviously, we have not just one, but two gas stove bills. So my Second Amendment would give gas stoves, I think, the honor that they deserve. A stainless steel 6-burner double oven in Statuary Hall. Now switching over to HR 1615, by also changing its name to Make Appliances Great Again. Many of you already have the hats and shirts and flags and boats, so I figured we would just make it easy.
So once again, a rare situation we have here on the House floor now where the majority doesn't have enough votes to approve the rules for debating their legislation. In this case, members are voting on a combined rule that would govern debate on 4 bills blocking gas stove regulations.
So wait, you're telling me that we sat through endless gas stove hearings for McCarthy to fall shy of the votes that he needed? Meaning the gas stove debate failed to ignite. It was put on the back burner. It ran out of gas. It clicked, but it failed to catch. Okay, I'm done.
The Grand Appliance Party is going to make sure your gas stove goes nowhere. You might own a small business, and you are worried about how you're going to pay your employees if we default. The good news for you today is that if you have to shutter your business because the country defaults, your gas stove will still be there.
But at the very least, we got another dose of Florida Democrat Jared Moskowitz using humor to utterly expose how ludicrous, with all the real and pressing issues this country is facing, that Republicans continue to waste time on this issue, only to then fall short of the votes needed. I mean, if that doesn't sum up the modern day Republican Party, then I don't know what will.
Obviously, we have not just one, but two gas stove bills. So my Second Amendment would give gas stoves, I think, the honor that they deserve. A stainless steel 6-burner double oven in Statuary Hall. We have statues there that are made of marble and bronze, but we don't have anything of stainless steel. And so I think this could be the first one. Amendment number 3 helps ensure that the hours of hard work do not go by the wayside on this issue. And so I propose creating a position in the U.S. Department of Energy for the sole purpose of fighting the war on gas stoves. This amendment would create this position in the department, the Supreme Allied Gas Commander, a position that young boys and girls can one day aspire to. Just as they're sitting in class, maybe reading a book, hopefully a book that wasn't banned, or sitting in class, hopefully being safe, they could think about being one day the Supreme Allied Gas Commander. Now switching over to HR 1615, this amendment honors this amendment by also changing its name to Make Appliances Great Again. Many of you already have the hats and shirts and flags and boats, so I figured we would just make it easy so that you could show your support for this amendment. And if you don't like that slogan, because that something of 4 years ago, my Second Amendment on that one changes the name to Stoves Over Gun Violence Act. In 2020, there were more than 40 million gas stoves, which is only about 10% of the amount of guns that are on the streets. And so I thought that maybe we could show parents really what our priority is, which is stoves over gun violence. And finally, Mr. Chairman, Amendment number 5 to HR 1615, to kind of put us back on the right track, is this amendment would take all the funds that are being used for the purpose of this gas stove thing and redirect them for gun violence prevention efforts. So, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the committee considering my amendments. I yield back the balance of my time. And it's warm, and you're in the kitchen, and you stare into the knobs of your beautiful stainless steel beauty. I got it. I get the bravado. We can pry your gas stove from your cold, dead hands, or give me my gas stove, or give me death. I have a 6-burner double oven range that sits on legs. I mean, I miss her right now as we're talking about it. And so I think, because it's a two-party system, I think when my colleagues across the aisle, the other party, show leadership, the leadership of our times that is desperately needed, Democrats like myself should commend them. And I want to apologize on behalf of the Democratic Party that we have decided to put kids' safety in their neighborhoods, from getting gunned down in movie theaters or grocery stores or school churches or synagogues. We as Democrats have clearly lost our way, that we are not focused on appliances.
So once again, a rare situation we have here on the House floor now where the majority doesn't have enough votes to approve the rules for debating their legislation. In this case, members are voting on a combined rule that would govern debate on 4 bills blocking gas stove regulations and changing the federal rulemaking process. The numbers have not changed for at least the past 10 minutes. 11 Republicans now have voted against essentially moving forward with debate on the legislation. All Democrats have also voted against it. Republican leaders have been on the floor, we understand, having discussions with their members. The House needs to approve this rule to debate the bills for the week, including the bill scheduled to come up next to block gas stove regulations. If the rule is defeated here, we could see the House go into recess to figure out what to do next.
And even today, Moskowitz used this very same line of logic to expose their lip service paid to the border crisis. All bark, no bite. Solutions, well, they aren't as useful to them as anger or outrage. They want people to just stay mad.
The border's been a problem for a long period of time because Congress has failed to pass comprehensive immigration reform. It's not like this is a new issue. This is something that's been going on for decades here. It's been passed from one president to the next to the next. Is it possibly worse now? Well, that's what happens when you have a problem that you don't fix for 2 decades. The same people who talk about the border, it's not like they've come up with solutions. They complain to get on Fox News every day. But it's not like we're having solutions.
Which is why they waste time waging these culture wars and holding hearings on public urination or gas stoves. Because it means they can avoid talking about real things like gun violence or school safety or education.
I wish my Republican colleagues were as concerned about Black and brown communities on the front lines of our climate crisis as they are about an appliance.
Energy is doing, making sure that gas stoves are less expensive to operate and produce fewer toxins and health hazards. It is my hope that my Republican colleagues will redirect their focus to the well-being of American people rather than politicizing kitchen appliances. Because you know what they are banning? Abortions. You know what they are banning? Books. You know what they won't ban? Assault weapons. But we are sitting up here talking about a ban on gas stoves.
Instead, they're all in on gas stoves. Well, not all of them, clearly.
This proposed rule is not a ban on gas stoves. This proposed rule is not a ban on gas stoves. We are regulating indoor air pollution. The climate crisis is happening all around us, and Republican inaction is costing us lives. As lawmakers, we have a moral obligation to prioritize the health and well-being of every person across our country. I represent a community where the threat of climate pollution comes from both inside and outside our homes. In St. Louis City, Black children are twice as likely to test positive for lead in their blood than white children. St. Louis ranks among the highest across our country for rates of asthma, with rates significantly higher for Black residents than white residents. I can only imagine the number of my constituents who are unknowingly being poisoned by their gas stove in the state that it is without this proposed rule being in effect, especially young children, our elders, and people with disabilities who are disproportionately at risk for contracting respiratory illness.
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.